Hey everybody, and welcome to Alan's Bonsai. So today I'm going to do an emergency repotting on this Premna. This is a cutting that I took, I guess, a couple years ago, but it's in a place on my benches that I don't really do a lot with those plants, and it sort of just sat there, and it's got interesting movement, especially up in here, where I'm thinking of turning it into a bunjin, but the soil is just plain nasty. And if we take it out of the pot, you can see just how incredibly nasty it is. It's just dense and black, and there's really no more air. And Premna is a pretty tough plant, but I've seen this guy wilting. And that's a sure sign when the soil is this wet that the roots are dying because it's rotting. So, don't get too close. My camera doesn't focus that well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the soil off. That's why I've got this tray, because I'll take that old crummy soil and I'll put it in my compost heap, because that kind of soil is great in the garden, horrible in a bonsai pot. And then I've got some nice fresh soil. And in this meantime, I'm also going to cut off the things I absolutely know I don't want to create my bunjin. So up in here, I'm not sure if I want to save this guy, but I know I don't want to go any further up this one, so I'm just going to take it off right there. And then this is dead. This is dead. So take it down to where it's alive. This one here is also dead all the way down to here. And I would have cut that back to turn it into a bunjin anyway. And then even though this part is alive, I'm still going to cut it way back. And then I'm going to take my scissors and cut these guys. So all the new growth, even up here, and I'm not sure if I'm even going to save this. This is also dead right here. That's another sure sign that your tree is not doing all that well. But actually, right away, that actually has an interesting form. Needs something to come out here. And even though there was growth there, it was way too thick. So I will let some of this little stuff come out and then bring it down to here if this is going to be the front. We have maybe a number of different fronts. This could also be the front. We could also take this off completely and use this as the apex. But that's in a future date. I just took that excess growth off just to get rid of it, to try to keep the tree from stressing so much. And now I'm just going to get rid of all this old soil. And just, well, that was easy, huh? And actually I'm suspecting an earthworm, but I don't see an earthworm. But yeah, this soil is so bad. And now this is one of the problems with using a landscape mix. And I'm going to put it back into a landscape mix, although you can see it's brand new soil. So, but it does degrade. Landscape mix does degrade. And in a training pot, it would just be way too expensive to use bonsai soil in every single training pot. So a lot of people that grow bonsai, even commercially, even though I'm just a hobbyist, they use landscape mix in their pre-bonsai too. Okay, so now we have a lot of roots and a lot of circling roots. And circling roots are one of my giant pet peeves. So, not sure how I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to have to put the camera down, since I'm holding it with one hand and I'm holding the plant with another, and then I need a third hand to do the clipping. Or maybe what I can do, I know I can do this. I can get rid of this soil here and just put the plant on its side, and then just cut out all this circling growth. Here's another one right here that's circling. See it there? Hits the edge of the pot and then just circles around. Here's another one, and another one, and another one. No circling roots. That looks pretty good. And the root ball is pretty well established. And it has decent nabari too. Get rid of some of this crud. It has very nice nabari. And I think I'm going to get rid of this surface root that's just sort of sitting out there doing nothing. Here's another one. And yet another one back here. Okay, so now try to knock the rest of that stuff off. That looks pretty good. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to actually dunk it in some water and get all of the rest of this crud off. So that is going to require turning the camera off. So I'll be back to show you the potting process. Or maybe I'll just do that too, because that's another thing that needs two hands. So anyway, I'll be back. So I took the plant and I washed off all the soil. So the roots are now just totally exposed. And Premna are pretty tough. They also root very easily from cuttings. So I'm not terribly worried about these roots just sitting out here. And also I washed the old soil off by rinsing it in water, so the roots are still wet. But now I've got the old pot, which is a very old 8-inch bulb pan, and it's just all still full of crud. So I can use that pot, but not today, so that one goes. So then I have a choice of this 6-inch bulb pan or this 8-inch bulb pan. And really for the plant, it would fit in the 8-inch, but I think the 6-inch is going to work much better, because check it out, it like fits just perfectly. So we're going to get rid of the 8-inch and we're going to use the 6. And you know, I want the tree to be up about like that. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's at least an inch between the bottom of the roots and the bottom of the pot. So that gets filled with fresh soil. Should be enough. Then we're going to put the tree in there. And it's not going to hold. So how am I going to do this? Can I do this? And like that? Okay, I guess that works. I'm holding the camera with 3 fingers and the plant with my pinky. So then we're going to add more soil. And then you need to kind of get it in between all those roots so that there's no airspace. And I don't normally like to really smash the soil down. I like to leave it a little loose. But in this case, I really need to get the airspace filled with new soil. So that looks pretty good. Okay. And now let's look at the tree. That's not bad either. But if we put it down and pan out a little bit, that can make a very interesting tree. And once again, this is just the very initial styling. You know, there's a couple things that could happen. I could bring this guy back up into here and do something like that. Or I could chop it to this little tiny piece of growth. Or once again, I could just take it all the way to here, because it has some interesting movement in here. However, today's video was getting it into fresh soil, because it just was not doing well in that cruddy soil. So make sure if you're growing pre-bonsai in a kind of landscape mix that you watch for that, because once that soil gets really nasty like that, the oxygen in the soil gets depleted, and roots need oxygen to breathe. They need water and nutrients, but also some airspace in the soil. So that's the problem with when that soil really gets crummy, is that it compacts and the oxygen basically disappears out of the soil. So the tree begins to rot, stays way too wet, roots can't breathe. And since Premna is a pretty tough plant, I think this one will respond beautifully with new growth, and in a few months, probably years, it will be a pretty cool bonsai. And if you want to see the progress of this tree as it responds, please subscribe to my channel. And what I will do is I will take this video and then subsequent videos of this same tree, and I will create a playlist so that you can watch the entire process just by clicking on the playlist. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. If you like this video, please like. And if you have a comment, if you've had the same situation, or maybe you have something about the styling that you'd like to comment on, please leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next video.